Test this. Good.
Are you ready, Robin?
Yes, whenever
All
my
right.
chair is ready.
Okay, then I will call to order this Monday, October 25th, 2021 meeting of the Bishop City Council at 5:02 p.m. Robin, can we have roll call, please?
Okay, Councilmember Khan.
Here.
Councilmember Garcia.
Here.
Councilmember Ellis.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Schwartz.
Here.
Mayor Mahoney.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is a public comment. Notice to the public this time is set aside to receive public comment on matters not calendared on the agenda for closed session. When recognized, please state your name, address, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Under California law, we will not discuss your comment. We're prohibited from doing so. However, we may briefly respond, so we'll definitely listen. Robin, did we have any public comment to our email address?
No, we have no public comments on our email, and I do not see any raised hands. Jenny, can you confirm?
There are no raised hands.
Thank you.
Okay, then we will move right along to our closed session. Today in our closed session, we have one item, which is a public employee performance evaluation pursuant to Government Code 54957 for the city administrator. So we will be back at 6 o'clock. Okay, everybody go log on to the other Zoom meeting.
Thank you. Hi, Father Gracie. Thank you for joining.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm sorry it didn't work last time. I was in a hotel room and I guess they blocked my hotspot,
Oh, shucks.
but I'm
Well,
glad to be here tonight.
likewise, I'm really happy you're here. Thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and mute myself. They should be wrapping it up here soon. Joining
Okay.
us. Thank you. Father Gracie, can you mute yourself till you're ready?
Yes.
Thank you. As soon as we get everyone on board, I will go ahead and turn on the mic.
Where'd Jose go?
Yeah. And for Ron and Dean too. But we can start. Here's Jose. Okay, so now I will turn on the mics, everyone.
Okay.
And I am going to go ahead and start Granicus now again. And I am going to start recording on Zoom.
All right. We ready, Robin?
Yes.
All right, then I will open the open session for the Monday, October 25th, 2021 meeting of the Bishop City Council. It is now 6:03 p.m. If you guys could please stand, our invocation today will be by Father John Gracie of Our Lady of Perpetual Help. And then please remain standing while Councilmember Ellis leads us in the pledge.
Good. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, not so much to be understood as to understand, not so much to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, it is in dying that we awake to eternal life. Lord God, make us all instruments of your peace, that in all we say and do, we will seek to make the world a better place, by seeking the common interest. Hear the prayer we bring before you. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Father Gracie. Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Robin, can we have roll call, please?
Okay. Councilmember Kong,
Here.
Councilmember Garcia,
Here.
Councilmember Ellis,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Schwartz,
Here.
Mayor Mahoney.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, public comment. Notice to the public, this time is set aside to receive public comment on matters not calendared on the agenda. When recognized, please state your name and address for the record, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Under California law, we are prohibited from generally discussing or taking action on items not included on the agenda. However, we may briefly respond to comments or questions from members of the public. So we'll definitely listen, but we'll generally not discuss or take action on the matter. Robin, did we receive any public comments in the email that requested to be read out loud?
No, not
Okay.
having.
Jenny, do we have any raised hands?
There are no raised hands.
Okay. Then we will move on to our presentation heavy agenda today. Well, actually first, report on actions taken in closed session as required by law. Dean, go for it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Closed session did not adjourn. By order of the mayor, it was continued to we will reconvene closed session at the end of open session. And so the advice would be that when we get through with the regular agenda, Mr. Mayor, you can go ahead and adjourn the open session. And then we will reconvene in closed session and then come back with either the city administrator or the city clerk reporting out any required actions taken and the time that closed session adjourned. Council will not need to sign back on into open session for that announcement. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Now our first presentation. Our first presentation today is from the Bishop Tourism Improvement District, the BTID Annual Report, presented by the Bishop Area Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau Executive Director, Tawny Thompson. Hey, Tawny, are you with us tonight? You are muted, if you are. Tawny, are you still?
There
Are
are
you
two
with
Tawnys,
us?
so let me try the other one.
This is the seance part of the meeting. Tawny, are you with us? Tawny, if you're with us, give us a sign. I would say we could move on to the next item, but the next item is on.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Hi, Tawny.
Hi, I'm here. Sorry about that. It's complicated technical situation here. I was logged on my desktop and my laptop, and apparently that was a conflict. So sorry about that. Jenny or Robin, I also have Julie Faber with us tonight. And is there any way to allow her to be a co-presenter?
Sure. Jenny, will you promote Julie Faber, please? And I have your presentation on our shared screen now.
Great. Thank you, Robin. And if you want to go to the next slide, I'll get started.
Great.
Can everybody hear me okay? Now that I'm finally
I'm
logged
clear.
in? Okay. Great. So thank you all for the opportunity to hear the annual recap report for the Bishop Tourism Improvement District. This report covers the 2021 year. And goodness, it was a year, right? It required some strength and some focus, just like the lady that was standing on her head on the cover of the report. The role of our organization changed. I would say that it actually expanded in that we have evolved from just a destination marketing organization really into a destination management organization. And so what does that mean, right? It means that we understand that increased visitation has impacts on our bringing extra guests to the area, has impacts on the environment, on our culture, on everything that we do here. And we really must be mindful with our messaging into encouraging the right type of guests to come. Now more than ever, it's important that these guests are respectful and that they understand leave no trace principles, and that they behave in a way that that we want to invite them back. So we've always been mindful of that, but it really, the pandemic really highlighted the need for that. Our role changed dramatically. We delivered hand sanitizers and face masks and information about loans and grants and pretty much everything except for the TP. We didn't deliver any toilet paper, but we would have if we would have had some. But we helped businesses out tremendously, and I'm really, really proud of the way that our organization stepped up and helped them. And we stayed in touch with research tools and the industry experts to help us navigate and also to advise us on how to get ready to not just survive, but to thrive once the time is right and it's time for us to welcome visitors back. So it's been quite a year, but I'm really, really proud of the way that our organization and our staff handled things. And we're very, very optimistic going forward. So we'll give you a little recap of how this last year went and then kind of talk about things going forward. We're really grateful, of course, to our partners with the City of Bishop, the county, all of our BTID members, and our business community for the continued support. So next slide, I think, Robin, would be. Quickly, just a little bit of background. The Tourism Improvement District was first formed in 2015 for a 5-year term. It was then renewed for a period of 10 years. Our current program goes through December 31st of 2029. It is a 2% assessment on all lodging sales within the City of Bishop. So traditional hotels, motels, the hostels, and the short-term Airbnb type rentals all contribute. And it's collected in the same time and the same manner as the City of Bishop TOT. It's just that those 2% are reserved and then forwarded to our organization quarterly for use as described by the district management plan, which is the next slide. The management plan or the service plan specifies how this money can be spent. And so 80% must be for direct sales and marketing. 5% can be used for visitor service enhancements. So improvements to signage or the visitor center structure itself, possibly transportation, the visitor impact study that we're working on, and trout stocking. 10% may be used for administration, and we're very efficient because we share with the existing Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau, the copy machine and the office equipment and the staff for administration. And then 5% must be set aside for contingency and reserve, which is generally used, unless we get in a crisis, it's generally used to pay the attorneys when it's time to renew the BTID. It does, our service plan has a $75,000 limit, and we've been setting aside that money since 2015. So we've reached the limit, which now means that that 5% can be used for another category like the visitor service enhancements or sales and marketing. So next slide. We have some main objectives with the BTID and our brand. And number one is to promote Bishop as a year-round destination, not just a pit stop. And you guys have heard me talk about this lots of times. We've always had those visitors that come here and they just get tired or hungry or run out of gas and spend some money here. Those are not destination visitors. Those are pit stop visitors. This strategic targeted marketing plan actually elevates Bishop to the status of a desirable destination where people will come year round, they'll stay longer, and they'll return more frequently. Objective number 2 is attract the right type of visitors. We could just spend a lot of money and just, take the shotgun approach and encourage people to come here. This is our town and this is our big backyard. So we never forget that we really want to invite people that are going to be respectful, mindful, careful, love this place the way that we do. So a good part of our marketing also includes education about our history, about our culture, and about ways that we expect our guests to behave so that they will be welcomed back. Objective number 3 is self-identification. As Bishop continues to receive more attention as a desirable destination, our locals feel better and more proud about living here and getting out and enjoying all the things in our backyard. And it also encourages investment from other types of businesses and industry in this area. So it's kind of a third benefit, I guess, to the brand building. So next slide, please. Thanks. Julie, do you want to talk about the strategic implementation?
Sure. Hi, I'm Julie Fever. And so throughout the last year, we've used our voice with visitors to inform and encourage safe travel and these best outdoor practices like Tani was talking about. And our website has regularly been updated with this know before you go information and what local regulations are happening, what's expected of them. And while many destination management organizations went dark, we chose not to. And in doing so, moving on to the authenticity, we have this team of local experts, this dream team of sorts. And by having locals who actually recreate in our own backyard, they were able to step in and make micro adjustments to the conversations almost on a daily basis with this last year. So that was really important to have these authentic comments and questions that come through. Through education, as Tani said, we really inspire travel that drives community togetherness as well as economic development and encourage responsible recreation, the leave no trace as well as safety protocols. For investments, we invest in a variety of publications, both print and online. And so we purchase ads in national publications such as the California Visitors Guide, California Road Trip, Yosemite Journal, and then a bunch of niche publications like SNS Off-Road, Living Bird, Climbing, Trail Runner, Fish Taco Chronicles, Western Outdoor News. And all of these have a digital element in addition to a print. And then we use tools. So we look at these different publications and the guest information services and everything that we invest in. And then we evaluate them, and we evaluate them on a micro level. So we use research tools from Visit California, Brand USA, Expedia, SimpleView, and those are communication tools in addition to tools that we use like Google Analytics for our website and Smith Travel Research for our occupancy and ADR to really give us a full picture of what we did for the year. So go ahead on to the next slide. So Recreate Responsibly really took a big part of our conversations this year. We joined a group called Recreate Responsibly that is central to California. And we hopped on what were in the beginning weekly calls and then to monthly calls with land agencies and other destination marketing and management organizations, national parks, Forest Service experts, health and human service experts, to figure out what tools and guidelines as far as communication they're using at a state level, national level, and then put that into our own local communication. And we have a wonderful, wild, big backyard here in the Eastern Sierra, and we are committed to caring for it. So we have a pledge, and this is the centerfold of our new digital, or our new visitor guide. And you can't see it because I am blurred. But we protect our public lands like those who came before us. We preserve our public lands for those who will come after us. We participate in taking good care of our public lands for all those to enjoy right now, and perpetuate the benefits by taking the pledge. And I think it's important that that we live by all of these different tools that were given to us by SAR and our local fire and Leave No Trace, and then the Recreate Responsibly, Know Before You Go and Plan Ahead type of communication information. So, and then also how to poop in the woods. On to the next slide. So Tanya is going to talk about the lodging performance.
Right. So ultimately, the evaluation of all of our programs boils down to how many people are sleeping and spending money in our city based on our marketing efforts. And as Julie said, we did, this past year was interesting. Started out pretty good, and many of our traditional print advertising placements were already made, and some we did not go forward with because it didn't make sense to be advertising during times of total lockdown and no travel being allowed. So we really had to pay attention to when it was safe to travel, and so when we could kind of turn things back on and turn them back off. So it was I'm going to say it was a bumpy year at best for occupancy. The table that's here gives you month over month, all the way back to 2015. And I think what's important to note is that a couple of things. Prior to the pandemic, we were on a really, really great trajectory. Our focus had been to try to build occupancy in the slower months of November through May. And some of the months that we saw the largest increases had been November and February prior to the pandemic happening. When we get to the last column and look at what happened this past year, certainly we're not back to pre-pandemic levels, but we're certainly better than when we were pre-beat it, right? So 2015 was the first year, and the annual average occupancy was 60.33%. Even with several months of shutdown, we were at 63.84% for 20 and 21. And as Julie mentioned a few minutes ago, we did not go dark with our social media advertising. We stopped our paid advertising for a good period of time, but we kept up the organic conversations so that we would nurture those relationships. And when it was time and safe for people to travel, they would be comfortable and feel confident in coming back here. They trust us, and they were still interested because we had been keeping up the communication. So we are faring much better than some of our other counterparts throughout the state that actually just went completely dark and didn't keep up their organic conversations. So I'm really, really proud of the fact that our team kept that together. I'm also really happy that another metric that we measure is called ADR. That's average daily rate. So the average for a hotel room, the average price. And so, and in your full report, so what we have in front of you tonight, this is just our PowerPoint presentation. You guys have also a full copy of the report with all the statistics in it. But our average daily rate did not dip, even though the occupancy went down. And that's really, really good sign, because it means that people still view Bishop as a valuable place to come and visit. And it means that our hoteliers strategically played it right. Because if they would have all of a sudden started really deep discounting rooms, it would be very difficult to get it back up to the price that it should be. And I'm trying to find, sorry, I have it in front of me. But we did not see a dip. In fact, we saw a slight increase. Oh yeah, there we go. So in 2015-16, average daily rate for the year was $95.50. In 2020-21, the average daily rate was $113.65. So again, it's a real good sign that Bishop is a desirable destination, not just a quick sleepover like Mojave or some pit stop. So yeah, and I'm very optimistic. October was a very, very strong month for us, and we're still getting lots of requests for visitor guides. So I'm optimistic that the coming months here, November and December, will be good, barring any unforeseen crisis. So, next slide, please, Robin. Oh, Julie, tell them about Mopo Life.
So every once in a while, we get a free opportunity. And this app company based out of San Francisco approached us to try to extract our activities, events, and guide services that are local to Bishop. And they've loaded them onto their app. And so they're starting with California. And this is still in a beta phase. So hopefully we will have an opportunity to see this come to life within this fiscal year. But it's nice to be able to take advantage of these free opportunities, especially when we have a little bit of downtime. Okay. And then public relations, go ahead.
Yeah. So this is where I would actually talk about what you consider earned media, right? So we have the paid advertising that we do online and in our print publications and by going to the travel shows. But there's also just good old fashioned PR, where we have developed relationships with travel writers and social media influencers. And this past year, we actually hosted several of them who came for visits to gather content, to write stories and gather photos. And it's just really, really important that we continue to build those relationships, because we call that earned media. There's no way to actually put a true dollar figure on what we get, but we're regularly mentioned in the editorial content of just about every major travel publication, lots and lots of travel sections of newspapers. But we continue to invest in those free, it's not free advertising, but a little bit of investment by taking them out for dinner, buying them a hotel room, that kind of thing really goes a long way. And then we also organize ourselves a few events, but support dozens of others. And this past year was one of those on again, off again. You know, is the event going to happen? Is the event not going to happen? But one thing that we stayed consistent with was we stayed in contact with all of the event producers to see if there was anything that we could do to help them in bringing back their event. So like this past year, this past month, we were really, really happy to welcome back the Ventura County Motorcycle Dual Sport guys. They had to take the year off before, and they almost took this year off too, but we were able to help them with some modifications with their registration, and they came back. So we'll continue, even though some of the events didn't happen, we still supported them and made sure that we were nurturing those relationships. So when it's time for them to come back, we will. Plus, we helped support some new things, like the new things that are happening at the fairgrounds. Heavily supported them with lots of online promotions locally, as well as to visitors. So we'll keep on doing that. Next slide. Can you move us up one, Robin? Row.
I see the cursor.
Is it stuck?
So while she's getting that going, the next one up was trout stocking.
Mhm.
And in the summer, the BTID funds are matched as we partner with Bishop Creek Canyon Resort owners to stock extra fish in the lakes and streams up there. So we were able to put one in July. Each stocking is 6,800 pounds of catchable rainbows. And then we also did one in September of 2020 in that same region, and then April of 2021 in Pleasant Valley Reservoir, intake 2 in Owens River. And then the next one is the Visitor Information Center. Do you want to talk to that, Tani? Or
Yeah, sure. So one of the most important cogs on the wheel is the in-person service and telephone service that our staff provides to guests. We are open year-round, much in the busier season, 7 days a week. When it's real quiet, we close on Sundays, just to conserve resources so that we can stay open later during the busy summer months. And in 2021, we had 16,010 walk-in guests. That doesn't count the emails and the telephone inquiries that we got. We are a little short-staffed right now. If anybody's listening, we are getting ready to hire a part-time position. If anybody's looking for a really fun job at the front desk, we're open to talking to folks about that. But we did, unfortunately lose one of our key visitor center hosts during the pandemic. And that's probably the worst thing that has happened to us during the pandemic. We lost Chuck. But I'm really proud of the fact that the rest of our staff has stepped up. And I've actually even spent some time as a visitor center host up front, which is very eye-opening, and I really enjoy it. I get to do that sometimes, but happy and pleased with the rest of our staff for helping to fill that void. Our visitor publications, we, as Julie kind of showed you, but it was blurry. One of the most important pieces of advice I took from one of the industry webinars that I was on was, take this time while your office is closed because of the pandemic, and use your time wisely to build, rebuild, fix what you've been putting off for a long time, so that when things come back around and the economy opens back up and travel opens back up, you'll be better positioned to take advantage of that and to capture those travelers. So one of the most important things that we did was revamped our visitor guide altogether. It used to be like the pocket size, pretty much a guide like a directory. And we had a great relationship with the In Your Register, who helped us for many years get that done. But because of the pandemic, they were unable to sell the advertising that they needed to do to make it work. So instead of looking at that as a crisis, we looked at that as an opportunity to imagine our visitor guide into more of a magazine that's for inspiration. It's got a much longer shelf life. It's got much larger and better pictures and stories about things to do and see in the area. And it's a good directory with business listings, campground listings, all the lodging is listed. But it's a much better product that we're putting out. So really, really proud of that. We were also able to develop 2 new specialty brochures, the Hidden History brochure and the Birding Hotspots brochure, which are already proving to be very, very popular. Hey, you're caught back up.
Thank
Next
you.
slide.
Actually, one back, go 2 back,
Too bad.
1 more. There, that's it.
All right.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about the major media advertising already. Over 15 million impressions from the print advertising, which also have digital versions of any magazine we advertise in, also as you can read it on your Kindle. Our digital program, we talked about it already, but we continuously improve, expand, add to our website. Boy, ever during the coronavirus pandemic, it was like almost every other day we were updating coronavirus information. Know before you go is really, really important. And we continue to improve and enhance our website. We're producing and distributing the visitor newsletter, and we have over 32,000 subscribers. And then information fulfillment is the email and mail Bishop Visitor Guide to those who request it through our website and other.
I requested mine, Tawny.
Oh, you did? Yay.
Nice, Stephen.
We mailed 9,601 or via email and mail this past year. So, and the interest is strong. We're still getting over 100 requests per week for people that would like to either see it digitally. And it's a neat digital flip book, which you can look at through our website. And I also did drop off a stack of hard copies at the City Hall. So you guys do have them there.
So we mailed 1,333 of them. And just to kind of give you some quick web stats to keep in mind here, I guess, as it stands, we had over 40,000 visits a month, 470,000 page views. People stay on the site for 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So we're seeing that the content is good, that people are engaged in the site. Our demographic for the year, so it's a little bit interesting if you look again at the nuts and bolts, primarily because we weren't having paid advertising come to our site for the year. We could see kind of who our true visitor was, and 58% were male. For the first time, we saw the 18 to 25-year-olds outpace the 55 and older. And that is probably because typically we lean more towards the female audience, because that's who we see do more brochure requests, and the older clientele, but they just weren't traveling this year. We also saw a big drop in international visitors to the site, and we obviously didn't see any international guests for the year. So California is our major market, drive market. We were lucky to be within such a big drive market. And so LA, Sacramento, San Francisco, Roseville, Bakersfield, San Jose, and Irvine were kind of our biggest go-tos. And then this year, we also did a major overhaul of search engine optimization. So we looked at different landing pages, properly optimize them for the different groups. And that's what we spent our time on because we had some time to invest. For social media daily messaging, we have one specialist for Facebook and one for Instagram. We have over 47,000 followers now with 3.8 million reach and 28,000 Instagram followers with a 19.5 or 195,000 engagements for the year. They were really busy and super troopers for the year and not all glamour, that's for sure. UGC is user generated content, and we have a thing called CrowdRiff that we use to collect all of these user generated images, and we have put over 130 galleries on our website. We've had over 100,000 interactions with those galleries on the site for the year, and people seem to really connect with that because it's a voice from other people, not just us, and it's imagery that is relevant. And then we use SimpleView, that's the industry expert for paid social ads. And so for the paid social media that we did do, which really started again in March to June, that was about it. We had a 16.2 or just over a 16% conversion as far as people clicking through, and 65-cent cost per click. And those are both way better than industry averages. So
a 16% click-through rate is definitely much higher than industry average.
Like 10%.
I can,
so
having worked on that in the past, I can tell you that's true.
SimpleView actually uses us as a kind of a model that they talk about. So they use us as an example. So
yeah. So even with you know, these conversations on social media, I think we earned a lot of trust this year. And even though they weren't really about coming to visit right now, we still had, you know, a pretty big increase. Facebook increased 8% year over year, and Instagram 18% year over year. So that was pretty neat to see that, you know, people were really still following and dreaming about coming to Bishop. So Tani's on the financials.
yeah, I mean, and then I just want to add one other thing. You know, when people were on lockdown and they were at home, they were spending a lot of time on their computers and on their devices. And so it really made sense, even though we weren't advertising Visit Bishop Now, it made sense for us to keep those conversations going because they were planning, they were dreaming what their future vacation was going to be. And so we were just kind of priming them so that when it is safe, they will come back here. And I'm really glad and grateful that we were able to keep that up. The next slide, we're getting close here, is our financial statement. And I just realized that it says 1920, but it's really 2021. So sorry about that. The dollar figures are accurate though, I promise. Our BTID, just kind of give you the revenue and then the expenses grouped together. The BTID assessment, and that was the money that was collected July 1st of 2020 through June 30th of 21, was $394,816. We had the City of Bishop contribution, thank you, at $40,000. Inyo County project grants, those are for the event specific things like trout derbies and rodeos and those brochures that we did. We did get an Inyo County COVID relief grant for $10,000. We did qualify for a PPP loan, which then became, was forgiven for 46,000. We had two unique situations last year. One was a co-op program with the County of Inyo. The person that was handling their advertising was John Klusmeyer, and he retired. And they didn't have anybody on staff yet to negotiate placement and create those ads for them. So we did that for them. It didn't make us any money. It just basically covered the cost of it. Los Angeles Department of Water and Power contacted us last winter, and they said they really liked what we were doing with the responsible recreation messaging and wanted to know if they could co-op with us. So what we were able to do with them was continue quite a bit of our print advertising that we would have otherwise cut completely. So like Julie was talking about, the niche publications like Living Bird magazine and SNS Off-Road and Trail Runner, we were able to keep those and then simply add a message from the Department of Water and Power reminding people to recreate responsibly. So our co-op was, we negotiated the price, created the ads, and they actually paid the bills for the ads. We're hopeful that they may want to continue something like that. They're working on it right now, so that may help us out for this next year too. Our net for our souvenir sales is about 17,000. The trout stocking co-op from the resorts up in Bishop Creek Canyon was 10,000. And we had a little bit of events revenue from our visitor event projects. What did we spend the money on? Our largest expense every year is always going to be on marketing staff. And then make no bones about it, we are in the people serving people business, but that's still a pretty small number, $130,000 for our marketing staff. We're lean and mean and get it done. Our social media content creation and management, that's what Julie was talking about, our social media dream team of contractors, which is Julie and our social media specialists. The social media ads, that's the Simple View ad agency.
So it looks like you guys are in the blue or in the black for the year. That's good to hear.
We did. So yeah, I probably don't need to go down all the details of it. You guys have it there.
We don't need to do that.
Thank you. So at the end, the important parts are here that at least 80% of it went to sales and marketing, 5% for enhancements, that we followed those rules, which we did. And then we did have an amount to roll over for the current year that we're in now. But I'm telling you what, we're going to need every penny of it, because now we're back to full throttle, full scale marketing. We're going to reinstate our travel shows for this year. And we at our strategic planning meeting that we had last week, actually approved some new projects like the Visit Widget online app, which is an itinerary building program. And it will also allow for us to have some in-market visitor kiosks. We added the Book Direct widget to our website, which now allows guests that go to Bishop Visitor to book their hotel room straight from our site instead of going through a third-party booking engine. We're going to spend significant amount of resources implementing the search engine optimization recommendations that came through our research that was done this last year. Now we know what needs to be done. Now we're going to spend the money and get it done on those specific pages. We're going to co-op through Visit California with a Expedia project, which they match it dollar for dollar. So if we spend $10,000 with Expedia, they will match that $10,000. So while it's good that we ended up in the black. It's not like we put a bunch of money in a savings account. We're conserving it so that now that the time is right, we're ready to get on the throttle again. Julie, tell them about Datify real quick.
So I went to the Cal Travel industry conference, and I spoke with the 3 competitors, and Datify seems to be the best fit for Bishop. Basically, it tells us finally who is coming here, their trip length, their spending data, where they're coming from, going to, what they're doing while they're here, the main attractions that they visit. It primarily comes from third-party data apps like Google Maps and Waze, in addition to things like Visa View, so we can look at where people are coming from, how much they spend as a typical visitor. The data goes back 3.5 years. They'll be adding international this year. And I think it'll just give us a really good scope on the look at who our visitor is, which we've been wanting to know for years.
Yeah, and so you guys are restarting the visitor impact study in that regard too, right?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then we'll continue on with our other type of research and kind of fill in the gaps where we can. Lastly, looking ahead, the Bishop Airport is coming online December 19th. So we're really excited to work with both Mammoth and INYO, City of Bishop, and the airport to put together some strong messaging for that. And hopefully put one of those visit widget kiosks out at the airport.
We haven't asked them yet, but we're hopeful that they'll let us do that. So to wrap it up, and I know that was a long presentation. It's our passion, and we're so proud of the work that we've done, even in a really rocky year with a lot of ups and downs. I'm super optimistic. I'm super proud of our team, and I'm super optimistic of where we're going. There's a lot of really great things on the horizon here for Bishop. And we are perfectly positioned to be able to, lead the charge for our economic recovery. We continue to invest in the infrastructure as far as the website goes, these tools that will help us not just recover, but I believe that we're actually going to gain some market share over the next couple of years, just because we were fortunate enough to be able to play the cards right. So there's these other things like the airport and the Small Business Resource Center, which are contributing and a part of the whole puzzle. So we appreciate the city's continued support. Of course, we appreciate all of our hoteliers' continued support. We did provide this presentation to the BTID folks at our strategic planning meeting, and they're all very happy. They're also thankful for the city and the county's continued support, and that we're all working together to raise everybody's boats. So thank you for listening to us. Do you guys have any questions, I guess?
That was a great presentation, very detailed, and thanks for everything you guys do. I don't have any questions. Anybody else? Questions, comments?
Thank you for the report. Great work you and everybody at the Chamber of Commerce are doing, Tony. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. And you have the full report, so when you get a chance, if you have questions, know that you can ring us up anytime. We're always open to questions.
And,
Thanks.
And Tony?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll stare at you too. You and Julie, thank you guys. It's to see moving to the cutting edge. You guys could have updated your AOL account, but instead you kind of went farther and farther and farther, and getting into the new generation and the new people, the new groups with money, and and the excitement to spend it. I think it's impressive. I think Julie, great addition to this, and I thank you guys for what you're doing for the city.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
For sure. And thanks for calling in, Julie. Tani, don't go anywhere because our next item is a Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau update report prepared and presented by you.
Okay, I promise to keep this very brief because I know you all have written copies of it. We talked about the strategic planning meetings already. We divided them into two this year, handled Chamber of Commerce on one day and Visitors Bureau operations on a different day. I felt like, and our board also felt, they were really, really productive. And we're thankful, Ron Phillips, you attended the meetings and we really appreciate that. I know it's kind of a long meeting, but it feels really good to have your input. We approved a budget at this for the Visitors Bureau that Julie touched on a little bit, and I did, that includes those new things like the Datify and the Visit widget and the Expedia advertising, as well as support for the Climbing Ranger program, which we did not do this last year, but this year we are contributing $12,500 to that boots on the ground effort to really help with the best outdoor practices in the climbing areas. It's in its third year now and a very good project. So I'm really pleased with the budget, excited to get going on lots of these things. Recently, we helped out with the Ventura County Motorcycle Club, the Dual Sport Rally. They had 159 riders that came to Bishop for 3 days, the first or second weekend of October. Everything went great. I'm really proud of this event because we were instrumental in bringing them here for the first time in 2007. And since then, we've been helping them with hospitality with a lot of volunteers. So thanks everybody who came out to help us serve their awards dinner. Many businesses contribute, like Holy Smoke, the Meat House, Farmer Brothers, Grocery Outlet, Gillespie Distributing. So it's not just us, but we bring in our business partners to help. Oh, and El Pollo Loco also donated. But one of the things that I think is really cool that happens is they donate for the last several years a significant amount of money. They have a raffle. They do a 50-50 raffle with their members there. And instead of keeping their 50% of the 50-50, they donate it to a charity. And for a long time, they were donating it to a charity in Ventura. But a few years ago, they said, hey, we'd like to donate to something in Bishop. And since my husband is involved, well, he's the chief of probation, the first thing that came to mind for me was the Shop with a Cop program. And so since then, they've been donating a couple $1,000s every year to Bishop's Shop with a Cop program. So not only do they, eat in our restaurants and buy gas in our gas stations and sleep in our hotels, they actually write a check for cold hard cash to our Shop with a Cop program, which I thought was really cool. And this year, Officers Scobie and Goss Venor, I think that's saying her name right, came and accepted the check, and it was really cool.
Yeah, we saw that. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was neat. The visitor center the past few weeks have been really busy. Most people were here to photograph the fall foliage. From October 1st through 15th, we had 1,249 walk-in guests. As comparison, for the entire month of September, we saw 1,342. So we were twice as busy in the first, 2 weeks of October. And September was actually about 43% slower than normal, but that was because of the wildfire smoke, as well as the forest closure that happened at the beginning of September, were significant impacts for us. Definitely optimistic about the upcoming months because of the requests for the visitor guides are so strong. Our occupancy for September was 66.8%, which is better than 2020, which was at 62.8, but not nearly where we were pre-pandemic in 19 of 88.6%. So we're getting there, but September was a little bit rocky. switching to the Chamber of Commerce.
You know what I'm most excited about in the Chamber of Commerce?
But
Getting ready for the
Railroad
holiday
Express.
events.
Yeah. So we are actually working on our holiday events. We've chosen a theme of dreaming of a white Christmas. The parade and tree lighting will be the evening of Saturday the 4th. And then the following weekend, we're going to do the Railroad Express out at Laws. We've met with Raven and the crew out there. We're going to make some modifications for COVID safety protocols. So not all the kids are sharing the same bottle of glue or the same markers. We'll give them their own individual craft bags and things like that to keep touching to a minimum and safety in mind. But
Do
we
I
feel
still
like we
get
can do it.
to conduct the train?
I hope so. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know that we could do it without you, Stephen. I'm also excited about a new program, which is the Shop Local project being sponsored by COSO Operating Company. They gave us a grant to buy movie tickets. So we have, I think, 15 locations, chamber member local retailers, the small shops. And if somebody spends $50 there, they get 2 free movie tickets while supplies last. So they're probably going to go pretty quick. I know Karen got hers today for Stage to Summit. And tomorrow we'll get the rest of them out to all the retailers and start the advertising on Wednesday. So that's pretty exciting. And then just again, excited about this new small business resource center that's coming. Had another very productive meeting this last week with the consultants and with the county. It's really shaping up to be something that's going to be a huge benefit for existing businesses that need help, whether it's with budgeting or personnel matters or marketing matters. It'll be just so nice to have a place where people can go, existing businesses and startups, or people that are interested in investing here. So it's going to be a real benefit. And the consultants are doing a really good job of finding out what elements are the most needed here and making sure that those things are built into the business plan for the center. And last but not least, Flo's Diner out in Chalfont Valley is our newest chamber member. And we attended their little grand opening and mini car show last week. And it was really fun. And if you haven't been there, I recommend it. It's good. So,
awesome. Thanks,
that's all
Donnie.
I have. Thanks.
Any comments, questions? All right, thanks again, Tawny. And
Thanks, guys.
We'll talk to you later.
Okay, thank you.
All right, next up on the agenda is the Eastern Sierra Tri-County Fairgrounds quarterly update prepared and presented by our CEO, Jen McGuire. Hey, Jen.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. Thank you for having us. Just before I get started, I just want to thank everyone for the successful fair we had this year, and the city was instrumental in that, especially Destin and his crew with our parade, Bishop PD, the fire department, all the volunteers and staff that came out and helped us and judged and ate pies and cookies and all that fun stuff. But thank you guys so much for that. Much like everyone else, last year we were in survival mode. And this year, can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, good. I just got a weird message. Last year we were in survival mode. This year, numbers speak for itself. We're seeing a tremendous growth, and we anticipate that growth to continue throughout the year and next year. Just a quick fair recap. Our attendance increase this year, we saw a 45% attendance increase with almost 40,000 people coming through our gates. That's paid people, not including the sponsors, the comps, all that good stuff. So that's a huge jump for us here at the Bishop Fairgrounds. The carnival revenue increase was 76%. So the carnival saw an incredible year. And that's a trend pretty much in fairs across the nation right now. Everybody wants to get out and do something, and they're doing it. The vendor and concessions, some saw an over 200% increase. A lot of them could not keep up with the demand, which is, a good problem to have. And we hope to continue that for next year. Sponsorship increase was 62%. We peaked over the 100 grand mark on sponsorships. And for us, for the records I have going back for the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years, that's a huge jump for our fair. And I'm super proud of that. We saw sponsors come in from Mammoth area, which was, it's great. We saw, I got a few national sponsors, Borla Exhaust. They typically sponsor racetracks and bull riding events, and they came in and sponsored us. They love Bishop and they want to continue sponsoring Bishop. So we're reaching out to some national sponsors as well. Much like the chamber, our marketing, you know, we're kind of getting into the fine details of marketing and targeting certain markets this year. This year we added Google tracking IDs and tag managers to our ticket site so we can keep track of all this data and analyze it. But some of the targeted markets this year were Ridgecrest, Antelope Valley, Rosamond, Tehachapi, Tonopah. A lot of areas in the Nevada area that we saw people, visitors attend from Dyer, Yerington, Minden, Fallon, Reno. We had a huge group from Reno come down to the fair and to the Monster Truck Show as well. Same thing with print. We kind of expand our footprint a little bit on the print. Not only do we utilize local, we branched out down to the Ridgecrest, Tonopah, all different areas, as well as their digital components. Radio, same thing. We utilize local radio as much as possible, but radio and TV are my specialties in marketing. And we reached out to High Desert Broadcasting and really hit it hard with an aggressive campaign in the Palmdale and Lancaster markets. We were able to increase reach and frequency down there. I was able to hand select day parts and really kind of pick where I wanted to be or our ads wanted to be. Our ads were really, really strong. Matter of fact, we got compliments from a lot of my colleagues down the South area, Antelope Valley, Ridgecrest, and whatnot on the on our ads. Julie Faber is also one of our marketing specialists here at the fairgrounds, and she's got mad skills. So our print ads were pretty impressive. So go, Julie. On the digital side, same thing. I reached out to some colleagues I have in the Spectrum Reach Cable Company, and we did some 3-week ad campaigns. We did some online video ads. These are ads that you see on websites. We delivered 79,000 impressions with a 74% completion rate. Our industry benchmark for that particular product for the fair industry is 58%. So pretty much all of our digital components that we launched this year were above industry benchmarks. A lot of it, I know people are surfing and they're looking for something to do. But I think our creative was strong, our message was strong, and we offered a great event here at the fairgrounds. Display ads, same thing. Those are static displays on websites. We delivered 134,000 impressions, and we had a really strong click-through rate. The streaming TV ads, 45,000 impressions. Some of the top networks that we advertised on were CNN, Discovery, TNT, Fox, Food Network, just some of the top tier ones that you would normally advertise on. Some of the top streaming devices are Roku, Samsung, the Smart TV, Fire TV, Apple TV. What's great about these products is now you can get into the finite details. You can take their data and really just deliver an ad to somebody specific through their data as well. Some of the marketing results, some of the top zip codes that we saw here this year for some of our larger events. Palmdale, Lancaster came in really, really strong up here. A lot of people traveled up here. We found a lot of folks that traveled and stayed here at the fairgrounds in the RV park for events. Some of the improvements we have for 22, just fair specific, is if we're going to grow, we need to make some improvements in terms of crowd control. We need more security in the stands. We did not oversell the Derby. We just had a lot of people get in that weren't supposed to be there and take up space. So we have a system for that for next year. Additional foot gates, utilize other gates for entry, not just the main gate here, maybe the Tallman gate. Improve vehicle traffic flow and utilize other gates for entry and exit. And that's something that I can work with CHP and Caltrans on now and get some plans put together for this coming year. Because again, we're planning to grow, and I'm hoping our fair grows and the attendance continues to grow. I'm trying to bring in strong entertainment, a diverse set of entertainment to hit all the different interests. Some new events for 22. I'm gonna launch a junior fair board. This has been something on my to-do list since I've got here, and junior fair board's near and dear to my heart. I was a junior fair board member. My kids were junior fair board. I was a junior fair board advisor, and I think Bishop would just thrive with the junior fair board. And what that is, it's a youth leadership academy, and they're ambassadors for the fair, and they kind of mirror our board of directors. And it's going to be a great addition to our fair this year in 22. We've got additional high school rodeos planned for this year. Normally we have just a handful. This year we got 5. Actually, I think there's more than 5 scheduled now. There's going to be close to 8 high school district rodeos here this year, as well as some jackpot barrel races, ropings, a PBR tour possibly coming through, and that's professional bull riding. Those events just bring a lot of business downtown to the restaurants and gas stations, grocery stores, hotels, etc. Motorsports have a huge, strong desire and a huge need for motorsports. I've got several motorsports companies wanting to put Bishop on their tour map, and I'm working on the details now. Probably some of the 2 most exciting things I'm working on this year is I'm partnering with Valdivia Marketing. It's a Hispanic event marketing company. They do stuff Santa Maria, Santa Barbara, Ventura, down south, up north, everywhere. They want to come in and do an event once a month, and it's everything from music, art, culture, food, the Charo style events, you name it. But I think that's going to be a huge addition to the Bishop Fairgrounds.
And I'm sure Jim is going to be partaking of the chili cook-off. So that
Absolutely.
sounds good.
I just met with Fire It Up Events, and they specialize in food events, barbecue, chili, salsa, all the above. So Mr. Ellis, look for that to hit your inbox real soon.
Look for a first place award for me.
Absolutely.
And so you're doing a bunch of improvements to the sound and
Yes.
covering the arena at this point.
So some of the new goals this year, arena sound is definitely needed. If I'm going to keep continuing having arena style events, we have to have new arena sound. So just look for a series of fundraisers to pop up here in the near future for new arena sound. One of the things I would like to do is cover one of our arenas that would bring in so much opportunity for some high level equestrian events. There's a process for that. We just can't go out and cover it, but we're working on that. And we also got selected for a grant for the new Charles Brown heating and air system upgrade, which is much needed, and possibly an ADA bathroom upgrade. But for sure, we're getting the heating and air, and that'll happen within hopefully the next year.
That's awesome.
Also a new website. So it's kind of wrapping it up fast for you guys, but we also hired a maintenance guy, so yay for that. And yeah, thanks for the great year. We look forward to a great, even better 2022.
Yeah, that sounds great. I mean, you know, I love the fair, and I will say in next year when you're doing the targeted ads, especially down south, make sure you highlight during those ad spots that they should buy their tickets before showing up at the gate. And
Absolutely.
showing up at 7 o'clock after 7:30 after the Derby already started, and then getting upset at the ticket volunteers that it's sold out.
Right. Yeah. You know, I think a lot of people were kind of waiting to see, you know, mask mandates, what we're going to require, not require before they bought their tickets. But yeah, I agree 100% on that.
Awesome. Thanks, Jen.
Thanks, guys.
Jen, thank you.
Yeah, go for it. Jen.
I truly love that you're not happy with just success. It needs to be more than that. And you just keep going. You take a win and you keep building on it. And very impressive. I applaud you. Keep it up.
Thank you. One thing I did forget to mention is that, you know, for once we're in the black on our budget, and
That's awesome.
we're trending. Our projection is to stay in the black and keep going. And it's so nice. We're being recognized in the industry by our peers, and other fairs and CEOs are calling us to ask, how do you do this? How do you do that? And so it's an honor. It's an honor to be recognized by the big guys.
That's awesome. Well, we definitely appreciate it. Okay, so let's move on to our, thanks again, Jen, and let's move on to our department head reports. I guess we're not starting today with Fire Chief Joe Dell, but we can start with Police Chief Rich Standridge. Hey, Rich.
I kind of have a tough act to follow. I have the fair, I have the chamber. I'm not quite sure I'm going to be a little anticlimactic tonight, I think.
You know, try your best.
I will. I'll give it a shot. We've been extremely busy here for the last couple of weeks, so I'm going to start off with a little bit of good news. I made a promotion this morning to police sergeant, and that will go to Brian Hohenstein. So he's well-deserved, well-earned, well-respected by the folks here, and that promotion will be effective on November 15th. So sometime between now and then, I'll schedule a badge pinning and we'll get a press release out and everything.
Awesome.
So with that being said, on another good note, we have the young man that came and did a ride along a couple of weeks ago with the department, who's in the academy down south, has asked us to start his background. So we're going to move forward with him as well. So if everything goes according to plan, when Cadet Jimenez graduates in December, we may be bringing this young man on as well around the same time. So it's all exciting news. We've got a lot of things going here. So as everybody knows, we met with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. We're looking at replacing 2 or 4. I haven't quite decided with command staff yet what direction we're moving in, but we got some good plans going there. With that being said, Citizen RIMS is scheduled to be on to go live around December 1st. That's our target date to have that up for the public. And so with that being said, Lieutenant Ellsworth and I participated in the DV walk with the tribe and their domestic violence program in conjunction with Wild Iris. Councilmember Garcia was there with us as well. Really good event. A lot of good feedback on our participation there. I also got to go speak at the Lions Club a couple of weekends ago, talking about disaster preparedness with a pretty good panel of Inyo County Sheriff folks, Mono County Department of Public Health, and some public health folks from the Inyo County as well. And I think that's about it. And I'll wrap it up this weekend. We're doing trunk or treat. So if everybody wants to come out and help us at our booth on 5:30 on Saturday night, you're more than welcome to join us, and we'll be ready to rock and roll. With that, I am out.
No, that sounds great. And congratulations to now Sergeant Hohenstein. That's awesome.
Yep.
Any
questions for me, Council?
Comments, questions?
Nope. Good job, Chief. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate everyone's support. Thank you very much.
All right. Next up, we have Public Works Director Destin Deshawn.
Good evening, Mayor Mojave and council members. I'd like to start off with Public Works had the opportunity to meet with grant consultants, the new grant consultant last week. Seems to be a fair amount of opportunity for money for not only Public Works, but the city, and especially some great opportunities in the Clean California's Act. So excited to see that we might be able to find some money for parking lots, as long as we incorporate trees and pocket parks, make them nicer, but actually give some attention to parking lots that haven't been touched in years and years, and amongst many other things. I wanted to bring you up to speed. California Rural Water and the state put on a webinar for the Owens Valley to talk about consolidation of water systems, which is a big thing out there right now and important. I think if Chief Dell was here, he would agree. And after that, I actually had some, Brookside Estates out by McLaren Lane actually reach out, who we passed right by, who, they're not a large system, but it may get the ball rolling to help the community, allow for fire protection on these small systems. So I think it's really exciting news. And, I wanted to bring everybody on the council up to speed with that, because there's a lot of funding available from the state, up to $60,000 per connection.
Wow.
To make those kind of improvements happen. You probably may have noticed or not, the Public Works crew out replacing the fire hydrant last week, part of our aging hydrant replacement program. And then they spent a lot of time last week. We gambled that the storm would come, preparing storm drains, clearing leaves, doing a lot of extra work, and it paid off. We had no issues to deal with today. So that was great news. The crew did good. We'll have this sewer trunk line replacement project bid opening on Thursday, which we anxiously await to see. There's a very common trend out there in California, or the United States, They're just not seeing the bidders. I don't know if they're too busy, so I hope we see some bids because that's a very important project to the city. Fall, I guess the Fall Highball Cragen Classic I've issued permits for their annual event on November 4th through 7th. That's kind of exciting. We're going to let them expand into the whole Whitney Alley area, except for this very south end, so they keep traffic moving, but give them that entire area to put it on. It seems like it grows every year. And then last, and I think most importantly, and I hope the public gets to hear this, I have finally tracked down the true owners of the lot next to Vaughn's down there. That's the eyesore. We've been, the county assessor had the wrong owner. Finally made contact with them Friday, and they hope to have somebody there this week cleaning up that whole area, fixing the fences, working on the landscape, the trash. I know it's a big deal. So, and also talk to them about possibilities of they want to sell the lot or not. So exciting news actually on that front. But other than that, I will see you back in a little bit later with another item on the agenda, unless you have questions of me.
No, that sounds great. I mean, I think any project to improve our water connections and everything would be good. And as you know, like, it'd be great to get funding for redoing sewer lines and putting in fiber at the same time.
Exactly.
Any other comments, questions from the council? If not, we'll move on to our community services manager, Dan McElroy.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Awesome. Tonight I'll start off with our programming department, which is after school program, our gymnastics kind program, and also our gymnastics club are still going strong and remain full at this time. We're also looking at possibly expanding our gymnastics club by 10 kids here in the next couple of weeks, depending on kind of what happens with the Grace Lutheran church closure. They run an after school program and their families are looking for places to go, as well as being able to maybe expand our after school program, but we know it's limited with the building capacity and student capacity there. So looking at kind of expanding our after school program a little bit. And we continue to work with, of course, the Inyo County Health and the school district as it pertains to COVID-19 and exposures. But we are prepared for any situation that comes up, but we've been working with them closely to help mitigate any situations. As you guys know, COVID is going kind of wild in the school right now. So we're prepared for anything that comes our way. Next up is our park pool. Just to let council know, we'll be putting out a couple of bids. We'll be requesting to go to bid for a couple of items at the pool, which will be our pool covers and our heat exchangers. So that'll get pushed out. Had an opportunity to meet with Ron and of course, California consultants, our grant consultants. And the grant that we're looking at right now is the Prop 68 Rural and Tourism Grant. We can apply for up to $3 million. And I would like to let the council know, let the public know that there will be multiple opportunities for public input. There will be an online survey and then possibly a public comment during Parks and Rec Commission meeting. As we move forward, we need to host a couple of public meetings and get some input before we do anything or even start applying for the grant. This week and last week as well, we'll be doing lots of trainings. Waylon and myself will be going to Mammoth for our about every 5 years, we do pool training, which is certified pool operators, as well as doing our pesticide trainings this winter in the next couple of weeks. I'd like to let Tani know I'm prepared to address the chamber roof. I have multiple calls in for repairs and replacement if necessary. I'm just waiting for calls back from contractors to come and look at the roof and tell us which way we need to go. And last up tonight is just park use continues to be AYSO, Adult League, and high school tennis are now wrapping up. And in the next couple of weeks, we'll be moving into high school soccer. So park is still busy as is our entire department. So thank you guys. If you have any questions or comments for me.
Sounds great. I'm really excited for the opportunities for funding from Prop 68. So it'd be great to see what you guys and the public plan up for that. Jim, you had a question?
Yeah, Dan, quick question on the chamber building. Thank you for addressing the roof and let us know what that looks like and if there's any problems there. I know at one time, it's been a while, the undercutting that was taking place from the creek, are we still okay on that?
Yeah, you know what I mean? It does affect the structure of the building, but yeah, it's something that's eventually going to have to be addressed. The abutments on the, I guess you would say, west end of the building are pretty eroded still. So, and that's, that's not water damage, that's duct damage, unfortunately. So
we're still keeping an eye on that though. And
yeah, it's still in the back of my mind and I walk and see it every day. So it's there. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Dan.
You got it.
Oh, any other comments or questions? Not, we'll move on. Thanks, Dan. And we'll move on to our Associate Planner and Economic Development Coordinator, Elaine Cabala.
Good evening, Mayor Mahove and Council. Just a few quick updates for you this evening. First, we will be having a Planning Commission meeting tomorrow, and the Planning Commission will be considering an ordinance that adopts new subdivision procedures in compliance and consistent with SB 9, which was signed by Governor Newsom. And that will, pending approval and recommendation from the Planning Commission, come before your council in the next couple of months. We're moving into the very final phases of the specific plan and mixed use overlay. Sent the staff comments back on the administrative draft in the last couple of weeks. We'll be working with the consultants to finalize those, and then there will be one more round of public input in November, and then we will be bringing that before the Planning Commission and the City Council for a final presentation. And then finally wanted to give you an update on our cannabis procedure rollout. The Planning Department is setting up a website that will house all of the applications and the procedures and the information that is needed for interested parties to apply. The application window will be open on November 1st and will close on December 31st. And then concurrent to that, we're going to be issuing an RFP for a third-party consultant to review the applications, and we will bring that before the council for approval with an agreement once that goes out. I expect that will probably go out and be noticed in the next week. And so looking to come back before the council in about 5 weeks to procure a consultant to help us review those applications before the window closes. Concludes my report for this evening, unless you have any questions for me. Thank you.
No questions from me. I mean, I guess, do we actually have an option with regards to the reasons, the changing, the state requirements on changing what R1 means?
I might have preempted you in assuming you were going to say reference SB 9. The answer is largely no. I think there's a few places that municipalities are still seeking guidance where we can put objective standards into place, and hoping that we get clarification on those before bringing it to the council. But yeah, largely this is state law, and we are just updating our ordinance to be consistent with that.
Any other comments, questions from the council?
Elaine, you said something about a third-party consultant to look at the marijuana dispensary applications. Are there people out there who specialize in this, or do you have someone in mind?
There are people out there who specialize in this.
Okay. Good answer.
Okay. Then thanks, Elaine. And we'll move on to City Administrator Ron Phillips.
Thank you, Mayor Mahovey, members of the council. I apologize. The system somehow knocked me off as a panelist, and I was struggling for a little bit to get back on. So that's why I disappeared. Not good timing on that. First of all, Elaine and Destin and I met with Russ Hildebrand, an attorney from Dean's firm, regarding strategies for potential land acquisition for housing, and we're working on putting that information together, anticipating that in the near future we'll be having the strategic planning session with you all that he requested at the last meeting. As Tawny mentioned, I participated in the 4-hour Bishop Area Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau strategic planning meeting last week. Also, as Dan mentioned, had a rural recreation and tourism grant meeting with our new grant writing consultants on recreation facilities. And they are meeting with all department heads to explore funding needs. So we're working hard. Everybody's having these meetings and working on getting started on various grant applications for the city. Elaine and I met with a housing developer from LA who was willing to work with her. They were in college together, and he put together some financing models for repurposing the old Kmart building for housing, and we'll discuss those model results with you in the once again in the future strategic planning meeting that we're putting together. I'm working with Chief Standridge and Dean on the wording for the graffiti abatement ordinance. We'll probably bring that back sometime in November once it's in an acceptable format for everyone. I completed the emergency sheltering authorization form for the city of Bishop on behalf of IMACA in support of their emergency solutions grant application. And so they all continue, hopefully, to receive funds for short-term stays in hotels for homeless clients. And I think that's all I have. Well, there's one more thing. The county has asked us both through an email message from the county administrator and a letter that came out from the chair of the County Board of Supervisors, if the city council would provide a letter of support to name the new county office building after Clint, to name it the Clint G. Quilter Consolidated Office Building. They would like to have some letters of support for that, and I am bringing it up just to see if there's any objections. I'll draft a letter for the mayor's signature, and then we'll bring it back for ratification at the next meeting if you have no objection to that. Thank you.
Sounds a lot going on. Any questions, comments from the council? If not, we will move on to our consent calendar. So a notice to the public, all matters under the consent calendar are considered routine by the city and will be acted on by one motion. Do we have any comments or questions on the consent calendar? Do we have any public comment?
No public comments.
I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the consent calendar as presented.
Second that.
Okay, Robin, we have a motion, a second, call for the vote.
Councilmember Kong,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Councilmember Ellis,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Schwartz,
Yes.
Mayor Mahovey.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, moving on to new business. Our first item on new business is going to be deferred because we received over about an inch of rain today, and our fire chief is currently at the Emergency Medical Care Committee meeting. So that is being pulled until a future date. Moving on to our second item. Our second item is also being deferred until all of the contracts are worked out between all of the parties, and then they can come back to us for full finalization. And so our next item is item C, consultant services agreement with Lumos and Associate. So we are to consider to approve the execution of the agreement with Lumos and Associate service based on proposals, interviews, and agreements. And I believe this is going to Public Works. So Destin is back with us.
Good evening again, Council. Just took a minute to get me back on as a panelist. So the City of Bishop submitted the East Line Street Bridge Replacement Project to the California Transportation Commission, or the CTC, back in 2008. In June of this year, the CTC finally funded the first phases of the East Line Street Bridge, which would be preliminary design and environmental, and as well as plan specs and estimates. So that essentially will fund us up to the point of construction. A request for consultant design services was solicited by the city for 30 days back in August 20th. And, ended on August 20th. 2 proposals were received, one from Lumos and Associates and one from Quincy Engineering. Both firms' proposals were evaluated, and the decision to interview both was made. An interview committee was put together with myself, Tyson, or not Tyson, I'm sorry, he was on our other interview committee, Mike Arante of Inyo County Public Works, and then Gary Schley from my department. Both firms were interviewed, did an excellent job. The decision was unanimous amongst the panel to select Lumos. Lumos brought a very small town atmosphere to the project. They understood the importance of our bridge, and I say our bridge is our only bridge within the city of Bishop. And they also brought an aspect to the game that really wasn't even there, was this will be a gateway to Bishop from the airport. It'll be the first thing that visitors see coming that way. So they besides just building a bridge, they really sold to the interview panel that this is a bridge that's going to be here for a long time for Bishop. We can make it look nice and not just be a bridge. The bridge will accommodate pedestrians, bike lane, and travel, obviously car travel on there. So, and one of the main goals that they also were hit on very well was the airport will be open, and we can't be sending people out to Polita Road to get into town. And how can we manage this bridge and keep the road open while we're doing it? So they did a very thorough job. The city has been allocated $319,000 to complete preliminary design, environmental work, and final design through the CTC, which is approved to be spent over the following 2 years. The tasks that Lumos, we were able to come to an agreement on and a contract of $311,000, which was within our budget. And also, I think it's important to know, just for the public, that when we do these type of selection processes for consultants with state money, we're not allowed to even discuss the cost of their proposal. And it's sealed. And then once we've made a decision, we're able to look and then see if we can obviously go out and negotiate a contract with them, which we successfully were able to do. The funds spent on this project are 100% reimbursable by the state as a part of the approved STIP, or State Transportation Improvement Plan. And the project is also included in our 2021-22 budget. So at this time, staff recommendation would be approve the execution of the agreement with Lumos and Associates Service based on the proposals, interviews, and agreement.
Thanks, Destin. I mean, it's great that they're considering the aesthetics of the bridge as well and doing this construction, because that has always been I mean, that is the first impression that we're going to make on to first-time visitors. So.
Yes, we hope we can possibly even get some of this Clean California Funds Act money to help with that aesthetic part of the bridge.
Are we going to give the bridge a name?
That would be, you guys could choose that name. I'm all for it. It's the East Line Street Bridge. It could have a pretty name.
I think
You do like a little historical plaque marker with like a, I don't, just the name.
The bridge.
The bridge. And
I
that'll
mean,
be,
if it had a fountain on it, then it obviously would be the Jim Ellis Bridge.
That's kind of a memorial thing. I'm hopefully not getting that.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'd be for a name, something that like celebrates the area.
Agreed. And some kind of a, steel, some aesthetics value to it. They could even have that as like a entryway over the bridge or something.
Sure, with like the date that the bridge was completed, something like that, a little historical marker.
Yeah, maybe a little history to the old bridge that's there as well.
Yeah.
Agreed. We'll have a public participation in this through the environmental process as well. So those things could be flushed out during that.
Okay.
I think before we can name a bridge, we need to approve the planning of the bridge and getting it shovel ready.
And that's an important note you made is that this will bring us to shovel ready to go to bid when we're done with these two phases. So currently there's no funding in the STIP right now for construction due to Alliance Cartago, and we've put, heavily invested our funds into completing that, which is going to start here soon. So we definitely, anything that's shovel ready, you never know what other money might show up prior to the actual STIP money being here.
Perfect.
Any other comments, questions? Do we have any public input on this matter?
I do not see any public comments in the public comment email, and I do not see any raised hands.
And a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the execution of the agreement with Lumos and Associates Service based on the proposals, interview, and agreement. Do I have to put a number in there?
I don't think so. Robin, we have a motion, a second. Call for the vote.
Councilmember Kong,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Councilmember Ellis,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Schwartz,
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, council.
Right. Future agenda items. Jim.
I'm good at this moment.
Okay. Jose.
Nothing at this moment.
Karen.
I got nothing, thanks.
Nothing as well.
Okay, and I also have nothing. Council and committee reports. Let's go back. Jim.
Quick one. Last weekend, I believe it was last weekend. My weekends are off. I did a trash cleanup up near the Browns campground above Crowley Lake with a group up there. And on a good note, there was probably a third of the trash in the area than we found last year. So it's good to see that people are cleaning up after themselves. And then last part, tomorrow there's a ESTA virtual public workshop at 2 p.m. If anyone from the public has suggestions or comments about what ESTA is needing, what they need for public transportation, you can go to the ASTA website and get information there on how to get to the meeting and submit questions or comments. So that's it for me.
Sounds good. Jose?
As mentioned earlier by Chief Standridge, I attended the YLRS Bishop Paiute Tribal Council domestic violence walk from the Cultural Center to the City Park. Over 100 people, we walk, and it was a very nice event. And I attended the LTC meeting last week along with you, Mr. Mayor. That's all I have.
Okay. Karen Khan?
I can say that I had no meetings or events that I participated in the last couple of weeks, so you can move on.
All right. Karen Schwartz?
I attended INEO Associates, and I had never been at the school in Independence, and they have probably the most beautiful view from a school. I thought Bishop schools had beautiful views, but this one, you're like right next to the mountains. It was really nice. So it was nice to catch up and connect with the mostly Independence folks that were participating at the meeting. And then I attended the Bishop area wastewater meeting, and we discussed the high cost of irrigation and what to do about that. And then we also discussed options on ways to fund a joint plant together. And that was it. Oh, and I participated in Soccer Saturday 2 Saturdays ago, where it was soccer bonanza, AYSO craziness, and I'm glad it's over.
That sounds like a long day. For my report, I also attended the LTC, where we were prioritizing some of the transportation projects to get ready for proposal, and also some of the ones that we're currently working on, i.e. the soon to be named East Line Bridge. And I also attended the Bishop Area Wastewater Authority, where we did, as Mayor Pro Tem said, we had a very fruitful discussion about the future, and basically we're sorting out some of our options with regards to wastewater treatment in the area, because there are some big decisions that are going to cost a lot that we're going to have to make soon. So we're just getting all our ducks in orders before we come to have a discussion with the council about that. Okay, and with that, Dean, do I technically adjourn the open session? Okay, I will adjourn the open session of the City Council meeting at 7:47 p.m. And we will go back into closed session when someone, not one of us, will come out and report once that session is concluded. Okay, have a good night, everyone.
Okay, good evening. This is City Clerk Robin Pickens speaking. Closed session ended at 8:16 p.m. And to report out on actions taken in closed session, there is nothing to report. Thank you. The City Council meeting is now adjourned at 8:18 p.m. Have a good night.
Have a good night.